I've been there when you shoot loads of footage when you're vlogging and you get back, you look at all the footage and you think, I can't be bothered to edit all this and I don't even know where to begin to edit all this. So this next sequence that I'm going to show you was edited in less than 5 minutes in Final Cut Pro. So before you achieve that, the first thing that you are going to need to do, unfortunately, is organise all your footage. So once you've brought it into Final Cut, you're basically going to go through a trimming process. So you're going to set in and out points of each of the clips that you want to use and just choose the best parts of those clips that you want to put into your final sequence. So to set in and out points, you just have to hover over the clip and press I, and then go to the next point where you want this clip to end and press O. And so the part where the magic happens is when you go to Motion VFX and you download a specific timeline that you want to use in order to create your B-roll sequence. Timelines is a recent thing that Motion VFX have added, and they're constantly adding in new timelines. The best thing about timelines is, even though a specific timeline might be promoted for action sports, for example, or traveling or documentaries, you don't just have to use it in those situations, because it's more so to do with the beats per minute that you're going to use for your music track. So Timelines has been created to provide you with a really quick way of editing all your B-roll without you having to necessarily spend well over an hour to just edit a simple B-roll sequence. So once you've organised all your footage, the next thing that you're going to want to do is decide on which timeline you want to use, and then you want to find the music that you want to add to that timeline. And this is where you're going to need to filter your search by BPM. So you can still go through and choose the mood and the tone that you want for your video in terms of your music, but you just make sure that you do select the right BPM for the timeline that you're using. So once you've found the right track and you're happy with the one that you want to use, then you can open your M installer, which is where your timelines will be downloaded to, and you can select the one that you want to use. As soon as you select the one that you want to use, it'll open up a window which will ask you whether you want your timeline to be vertical or horizontal, and it will also allow you to choose the frame rate that your clips are shot in as well. And then you'll have a new project which is going to be created, and it'll look something like this. So all these grey boxes that you see on the timeline are where you're going to add your footage, so that's where you're going to drag and drop your footage in order to make up your B-roll sequence. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is drop your music track onto the timeline and delete all the other ones that are on there, because you're not going to be able to use them because they're just preview tracks, just so that you can hear what the timeline sounds like. You can just use it as a way to drag all your footage onto the timeline and then listen to how it all sounds, but you might as well just drag on your music track and then work with that instead. So before you start dragging all your clips onto the timeline, you want to make sure that you've got the selection tool selected, and you can do that just by pressing A on your keyboard, and that means that it's actually going to replace the grey boxes that are on your timeline rather than just try to overwrite them. So by replacing them, you can actually replace the duration of that grey box, so it's going to fit in exactly to that grey box that is there. And what you want to do is make sure that you're selecting replace from the start, because this is where you will have put your in point, where you went through and you just selected which part of the clip you wanted to play in your timeline. But if you kind of skipped the bit at the beginning where you go through and you set all your in and out points, that's absolutely fine, because you can still drag each individual clip into the grey boxes, and then you can just reposition the clips whilst they're on the timeline anyway. So if you hit the tilde key and T, that's going to create a tool which allows you to adjust the clip in its window so that you can choose where it starts. That's literally all you have to do, is just drag each of your clips into those grey boxes, and it's going to create that entire B-roll sequence for you with transitions, text, grading, everything. You can change all of these if you want to, so if you want to change the text, or you want to move it somewhere, or you want to change the font size or anything, or the font style, then you can totally do that. But if you literally just want a solution where you're just dragging on your clips and you're quite happy for everything else to be set for you, then this is such an awesome solution for you to do. So with this particular sequence, there are parts where I want the clip to finish sooner, and so with all these markings that you have on the timeline, if you reposition the clip so it's locked into each of those markings, then it means that you're not messing up the timing of the music and the clip. So if you just want to make a clip shorter or a clip longer, then just make sure that you're locking onto those markers that are already set on the timeline, because that's where the beats per minute have been set. And if when you drag your music clip onto the timeline it sounds a little bit out of sync, you can match up the music track by using those markers. So if there's a specific beat at one point that you can identify, then you can shift the track along a little bit to make it match up to one of those markers. So this is the sequence that I just created by showing you how to do this whole process. So I hope that's useful for you if you come back and you've got loads of footage and you don't quite know how to edit it all together, you just want a really quick and easy way of doing it. So for any of the timelines that you want to get, as long as they don't have a discount, you can use the promo code Tamara10 and that's going to give you 10% off. Thanks Motion VFX for sponsoring this video. Drop me a comment if you have any questions, but I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.